Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. You either make excuses or you choose to level up. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. Woo! Woo! Brandon Brittingham.
Appreciate you having me here today, man.
It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today.
Jeff and I are like friends. We're real friends.
We are and so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it.
It all comes down to your why. You know, your business, why are you doing it? You know, how is it going to change the world and what's it going to do for your family?
I want you to celebrate your success.
Talk about the struggle, but I promise you, the story is in your struggle.
They'll never be able to say that about me because people only see me working hard in anything that I'm doing whenever they see me.
Focused on your success and the success of those around you.
But being that constant in your community, good or bad, whether things are great in the community, bad in the community, be steady.
Unapologetically do business and life on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. And we discuss how they do it and the big ticket methods they use. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.
In and of itself, the only limitations that we really have on ourselves is the ones that we allow to be put on ourselves. And most people don't look at it in that perspective.
There's nothing wrong with being humble, but there's also nothing wrong with stepping into your superpower and letting people know who you are.
Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. All right. Well, this week's guest, Matt Davis, is certainly stepping into his superpower, a lawyer that hates golf, so identifies golf as kryptonite for him. Has a lot of cool things going on in his business. In the pre-show, we're talking about podcasting, how he's a little bit of a rock star to other lawyers because of all the cool things that podcasting affords him to do. And we're here to just really kind of talk about a lot of things. But Matt, welcome to the show. And I figured we'd just jump off right with the title, which is the title of your book, The Art of Preventing Stupid. So let's jump into that.
Yeah. And hey, by the way, you know, if you ask my wife about what my superpower is, she will tell you it's napping, because I have an incredible ability to take naps anywhere, even on cement floors. But so I had a little chuckle about that. So my book is called The Art of Preventing Stupid, which is a little bit of a maybe provocative title. And the idea behind it is to provoke business owners to go, well, hey man, you know, I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to be a moron. And we're pretty ramped up about that because, and I hate seeing business owners make unforced errors. And, you know, guess who has to clean up the messes? We do, because, you know, and so what we've done is spend a lot of time and energy reverse engineering what gets business owners and leaders into trouble and help teach them ways to avoid that, ways to prevent the stupid mistakes.
Yeah. So just as we're going to make an immediate left turn and we'll come back to the stupid things that business owners might do. It's time to shed that sport coat, because the next question.
Let's roll up the sleeves and let's get
because the next question I'm going to ask is, so we met through Podmatch, which, by the way, if you're at all into podcasting, you really should check out Podmatch for booking guests, being a guest. Really great portal. But in your bio there, you shed the sport coat at the right time. You were a heavy metal guitarist at one point.
Oh, yeah. Well, I still am. We've started a new heavy metal band called Geriatric Steel. And we're writing. My son, we played once at a farm retreat, right? And my son goes, hey, why don't you guys write hard rock songs for middle age and beyond. And I go, that's the most genius idea I've ever heard, because there's, of course it's kind of aggressive music, but there's so much more to be frustrated about. And so, I've got Get Off My Lawn and Teenage Daughter, and these songs just write themselves. So we're practicing again Thursday night and hope to get into the studio here pretty quick. So we're having a lot of fun with that.
So when you say you're practicing Thursday night with geriatric metal, does that mean that's after 4 o'clock dinner? Is that right?
No, it's at 7. It's at 7. So yeah, and we're excited about that. We're having fun with that. So
well, that's cool. It's always good to have time to in business be able to blend hobby lifestyle with business and not just be such a slave to the business where you only wish you could do things like that and have hobbies and have a life. And,
my wife said, the law firm's doing what you want it to do, and it's growing, and it's starting to grow organically. And, what's your next act? I said, honey, we're going to take the band on tour and go play heavy metal festivals and get paid to do it. And she's like, yeah, you're actually serious. I said, of course I'm serious. So.
Nice. So I just have to ask, because our producer, Chris, is big time into music. He actually, in a former life, was very involved with big record labels. So what are your biggest bands of influence? I just have to know.
Oh, wow. I'm excited. I just saw Maiden is playing Tulsa. So I live out in Enid, which is West Oklahoma. And Maiden's playing Tulsa. We grew up listening to Maiden and Priest and UFO, not so much Def Leppard. Def Leppard's more of a vocal band if you really listen to them.
Right.
Dio, we listen to. I've been listening to the Tigers of Pantang lately, who are the third string of British heavy metal, but they're still playing. So
nice.
A lot of the new wave of British heavy metal, really. It's where we cut our teeth.
Nice. Very cool. That's very neat. I'm sure Chris in the background's got a smile on his face on that one. That's very cool. So back to business. So The Art of Preventing Stupid, you wrote the book because you've seen from your years of experience, your expertise, you see a lot of things that get people into trouble. So let's talk about that. What are those handful of things that seem to be these common mistakes that just keep happening over and over again? Listeners can maybe stop inflicting injury upon themselves.
Well, of course, it can be the management not planning for the future, or it can be, not dealing with your marketing or understanding your marketing. But ultimately, man, every business is a little bit different, right? And the key thing that we teach businesses how to do, and this is the Art of Preventing Stupid, it's kind of the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing with this, is teaching them how to brainstorm what their vulnerabilities are. Because we think that it's a lot easier to spot them than people think. But what has the literature produced? I mean, the literature has produced SWOT analysis. And SWOT analysis is, of course, let's talk about our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay,
Yep.
Those are, and ultimately we focus on the weaknesses and the threats. You can't ask smart questions when you're just going, what are my weaknesses or what are my threats? But we frame it up in such a way where, first of all, your 3 columns of questions. What are the catastrophes that can strike? Meaning things out of my control, but they can get us. What are we ignorant about? And what are we being inept or slack? We use the word ineptitude, or what are we slacking off about?
Right.
And so we take those 3 categories, and we'll either do it with the business immune system reports, which is what The Art of Preventing Stupid is about, and walk that through. That's more about systems, okay? So you're going to talk about what's your management look like? What does your personnel look like? What do your facilities look like? Marketing, sales, metrics. And I think I covered them all right there. And you ask questions in each of those categories. So for instance, I sat down with a owner of or a president, it's a family business of a big company, $250 million a year company, and said, okay, you know, what are the problems? Where are the vulnerabilities with you? And we very quickly agreed, look, we don't have a good succession plan in place. We don't have anybody here that can run the company. And we went out and identified that. And by looking at that, we then went out and hired 2 C-suite vice presidents, right? 2 senior level vice presidents from other companies, either of whom within the year could run the company. And you know what that did to the company? I mean, you can guess, it supercharged it.
Yeah, 100%. But I actually, one of the clients I'm undertaking beginning September has a very similar trajectory where there is leadership in place, but it's family leadership and it's turning over, and it's like, who's going to stand in that role of the visionary in the company? Who's going to stand in the role of where this thing goes? Because we aren't just going to be able to hold on to what we have forever. That'll just go away. You have to be adding. So yeah, really smart. I want to take a pause because people watching this, looking at the show notes, they're like, well, Matt Davis Business Law. We're talking about a lot of like business growth, about business analysis, but Matt's a lawyer. So you seem to approach law, your core, or do you have a secondary business? I might have missed that.
Well,
but
no, I mean,
do you approach it really holistically in your firm?
Well, we do traditional law as well. And by the way, it's hard to market. It's hard to sell clients on the holistic and the preventative work because, look, you work with entrepreneurs and they're 13 feet tall and bulletproof, right? I mean,
I'm 15 feet tall and 50 cal. Throw it at me.
Yeah. And so from our perspective, this is the consulting or the preventative legal work, if you want to call it that, the proactive legal work is we love to get clients that will let us do that with them. Yeah. Because we can keep them out of so much trouble. And ultimately, what we do is really the negative side of strategic planning with that part of our business. And that dovetails right in with their strategic planning. So we'll end up working a lot of times with their business coaches or their scaling up coach or their EOS coach. And several of the EOS and scaling up coaches that I'm acquainted with have adopted our methodology and are dovetailing it in with what they do, because when you get those businesses, and here's one of our taglines, if you deal with your vulnerabilities, you can capitalize on your opportunities. And the point is, you're the strong player on the field then. You're the company that's not making the stupid unforced errors. You're the company that is ready to take advantage of your opportunities because you're not off over here in the wilderness dealing with some stupid problem.
Right.
And I come at this really gutturally from this standpoint. Okay. So my mom was the only woman in her med school class in 1963, University of Oklahoma. Mom was just, stone cold. And she then went to St. Louis, did a residency, and ultimately came back to our hometown, kind of like I did professionally. I was in Washington, D.C., and then decided, hey, this would be a nice place to set up a professional career. And she was one of the pioneers in breast cancer screening. So,
wow.
Right now, let's think about that. Okay. So that's medicine being proactive. That's medicine going, okay, we know that this stuff is likely. We know the problems that people get in, that women get into with breast cancer, right? And we know how to examine for it. So fast forward to my life, that, hers was back in the 70s and 80s. And I'm a professional in this town. And by the way, I've got people coming up to me all the time going, your mom saved my life or my wife's life or my mom's life by early detection. Okay. So from an ethical standpoint, I'm a professional too. And I've got responsibilities of taking care of my clients. But in the law business, we're just taught, okay, you deal with the issues when they come.
Right.
Now, I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's where your emphasis is. And in working with my clients, I'm like, wow, what if we can develop systems and frameworks and structures to ask the smart questions to help steer them around their problems so that they can deal with their opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And that guttural, just ethical demand or whatever you want to call it inside of here is like, that's what I want to do. And, it's a responsibility. And, let's be serious too. It's not entirely altruistic, because when we're working with companies and doing that, what happens is they grow faster. And frankly, there's more for us to do.
Right.
And frankly, my attorneys love doing it.
Right. Well, you mentioned in the pre-show, as we were getting to know one another a little more intentionally, so our listeners and watchers have a better experience on the show, which is another good little tip, I think, for podcasting. Get to know your guests in advance of the show as best you can. But, you were talking how you love podcasting for yourself because as you're in a business, right? You have to grow your business. Mm-hmm. So you're attracting new attorneys to your firm. And you're talking about how the podcasting as a media, right? Because that's what it is. It's a media, no different than radio, than TV, than Google AdWords, than social. They view you as a rock star. But really, I think what's going on is they're getting to know you and they're getting to see what life can be like at your firm. And, you touched on it. You said just a minute ago how there's a mission, a principle, an ethic to help a business be better, to cover their six, so to say, to help them understand where those vulnerabilities are so they can max those opportunities. By the way, I wrote that down. One thing we do here on my show, it's a new part of our systems, is I understand not everybody sits down and listens or watches a show for an hour. So we're starting to pull out these little micro nuggets of the show. So you'll see me making notes. Don't think I'm doing other work. Both you as my guest and those watching. I'm doing that because we're getting more from this content, which is another little smart marketing tip that we can give you here on the show. But talk about, you're using podcasting as a media. You see the mission you bring to your customers and how you're attracting new people to your business as you grow.
Yeah. So podcasts, okay. First of all, they're podcasts, frankly, for us as direct lead generators are not that important because we're limited where we can practice law to where we have licenses and offices, right? So,
right. Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of just an unfortunate deal. I mean, I could arguably do business consulting all over America. I don't do it because I've got bar licenses, and the bars tend to be made up of the people that told on you and me in school. So I just stay out of their way. Okay. And I just don't want to be on their radar. That's our goal. Just, don't even give them any reason to question you. So not so much direct lead gen. Okay. And maybe that was the easy thing. So I guess what I'm getting to is counterintuitively, podcasts are really valuable. Number one, because if you're doing digital marketing, backlinks off of podcasts are very valuable because in digital marketing, half your show is for your audience and half your show is for Google. And Google likes the podcasts. Okay.
Right.
There's a little personification going on there. Now, for recruiting and getting the firm message out, podcasts have been invaluable for us. And by the way, they're also great because I always learn something talking to the Jeffs of the world, right? But it's a great platform for us to express and talk about our ethics and what we do and to just show who we are, because and to show that we have some digital savvy and are actually doing something out of the ordinary rather than just being your standard yawn law firm that's going through life wearing gray suits, picking up whoever they can get that has a bar card and a pulse, because most law firms are just fraternities. And we operate really differently in the sense that we know who our clientele is, and they're ambitious business owners, small business owners. We have a couple larger businesses we represent, but I want to speak to the attorneys that want to work with those people. I want to show them who we are, and it really helps our recruiting when they can go listen to me on a podcast and go, wow, that's the sort of outfit I want to work for.
Yeah. Well, I think, what we're talking about here, and it's really twofold, is, projecting true authenticity in your business. And this is applicable in what you do in business law. It's applicable in what I do in, working with clients that want to go to a next level in their business and put a visionary into the business that can help them grow. So many people, I think, get wrapped up, you said it, in the gray suits, the licensure, the letter of the law you were taught in school, and they just don't come across authentically. What have you seen? And then I want to follow up on a second part of this, the mission of a business, like that heartbeat of the business that you referred to a few minutes back. So on the authenticity side, what have you seen where business owners get this and grab onto it? What has it done for them?
Well, first of all, they got to have their heart in the right place. I mean, at the end of the day, money is just a measure of the service you do for other people, right? And so you start with your heart in the right place of, let's make their life better, let's add value. Okay, that's a do not pass go, do not collect $200 sort of deal. But you do that, and then when you start to engage, I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing your question. I feel like.
Speaking about the authenticity.
How
have business owners used their authenticity? How are they showing their true self for success?
Got it. I got tied up in that little.
It's all right.
But when you put your heart and soul into it, and you're authentic about helping them, and it supercharges them, and also, it also supercharges you when you're humble enough and honest enough to deal with the mistakes that you made, because unlike most law firms, we have a complete customer service department. We call it client experience. And, Kelly is empowered, if any of our clients are upset, to make decisions, to deal with their complaints. And we look at that as an opportunity for us to mend fences, because if somebody's mad at us or upset, which doesn't happen very frequently because we stay on top of stuff, but that's an opportunity for them to go, oh, okay, this is a different sort of company than what I'm expecting in the law business. Because, there's a lot of good reason people hate law firms. And I can talk about that for hours. And by the way, that's also, there's a lot of good reason that attorneys hate working for law firms. Right.
I get the feeling around the law circles, you're kind of the renegade, the odd man out, the rogue, what was that movie with Adam Sandler, the golf movie? We keep coming back to golf here, Matt.
Yeah. Well,
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. Yeah.
You're the odd guy out in that way, kind of shaking things up, which I love.
I have a lot of my mom in me, and my mom had a real low tolerance for the status quo. I mean, I'm kind of iconoclastic is maybe the $5 word for it, but
right.
I'm just not real interested in doing things just because they've always been done that way. I mean, I want to think about it. I want to do what's right. I mean, our company, by the way, we're a growth company. I mean, we're an Inc. 5000 company for 2 years in a row now. And I don't have any partners, but we run the company a lot better than other law firms are run, and both financially and on a human resources level. And that's a huge advantage for us.
Yeah. Yeah. To circle back to the authenticity thing, and then maybe we'll shift into, where the heart is and where the mission is of a business. I don't know many attorneys that would lead with, I'm into new wave, third wave, English, British metal. Like they're leading, like you look, I want watchers. If you're listening to this is again why it pays to take in some of these shows, my show included, because they're always video shows. Behind Matt, look at what you're not seeing. You're not seeing the law degrees. You're not seeing the fraternity certificates, right? You got a guy standing here talking about how we really help a business, not how we bring them back from the edge and the brink of troubles that we knew we could have prevented. Instead, we're standing on the forefront saying, we're here to help you take an ounce of prevention and really make it last, which really is a daily homage to your mother. If you think about it, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, and I have, there's a picture of my mom right over there. There's a cover of the Art of Preventing Stupid book, and I have had to take my picture down here back down. So that's a picture of the college, or the quarry where all the rock came from, where I went to college. But there you go.
Oh, cool. Yep. Yeah. So, and just by the way, I mean, I get a sense you have obviously you have a lot of love and respect for your mother. What a time for her to come up in medicine in the early 60s. I mean, that was for a woman, that was no small feat by any measure, I'm sure. Was there any stories that she told you that stick with you?
Yeah, there's several. So the boys used to like to cut the male anatomy off the cadavers and stuff it in her lab coat.
Oh, geez.
and then one of her lifelong friends, or from professional friends, he lives just down the block from us, told her that she needed to give up her space to a man, and she has.
I bet you that went over like a lead balloon.
It has been great, and we roast him about it all the time. And I'm just waiting for her funeral, because I hope he survives her, only so I can bring that up just to watch him squirm at her funeral. So,
wow. Well, thank you to your mother. I mean, her, the role she played in the early detection of breast cancer. I mean, it's not just the people coming up to you in your town, talking about your mother and her gifts and talent she put into this world, but it's really all over the world. That's awesome. I mean,
it made a huge difference in the world, and medicine is serious about that. And if I had a mission and a passion aside from just helping small businesses, it's helping business to avoid stupid mistakes. I mean, hell, I wrote the book on it, and my next book's sitting on ice. We're trying to decide what to do with it. So, and it kind of takes everything to even a higher level, because guess what? As you know, I get better all the time because I'm just constantly working and thinking and coming up with new ways to be more incisive. And yeah. So dovetailing, purpose,
authenticity into the mission for a business. So I'll give you a little bit of inspiration with what I'm doing in the retail business I own. So our goal there is change the way you feel about mattress stores. That's our mission. Real simple, because it guides everything we do, from how we speak to our people, how we advertise, the items we select to offer for sale, the procedures in the home, when we're in your bedroom. And I say that, like, when I'm at networking events, you talk about the typical gray suit, stodgy, what you're supposed to say and do. I get on the mic and I say, I do business in your bedroom. And it gets that reaction every time.
Yeah.
But I take that and I share with people, like, yeah, I sell mattresses. I help a third of your life. I have that impact. And we take it serious, and we change the way you feel about buying a mattress and about the stores you buy them in, because I know our industry kind of sucks. It's terrible. There's a lot of confusion and forced manipulation, and we want to change that. That's our mission. So I'll kick that back to you.
Very similarly, on both the external and internal fronts, we do that too. So let's talk about external. And this is really good advice, just what you said and what I'm about to say, for all business owners. Figure out what everybody hates about your industry and set out to fix it. So in the law, if I was picking a couple things people hate, it's number one, just not being able to communicate with your lawyer. So when somebody calls us, man, we're getting them on the phone as quick as we can with the lawyer. It's not, hey, we're going to wait, we'll call you back 3 hours from now. Our goal is to get the leads on the phone, and then also communicate after the fact. We call it the mushroom treatment that a lot of law firms give people, where they feed them BS and keep them in the dark, right? And look, we don't always hit homers on that, because things can happen.
Love it.
But man, that's really serious faux pas around here. And communication with our clients is just really important. And also just the blank check syndrome, because people don't know how much their case is going to cost. And it's hard from our standpoint, because sometimes we don't know how much cases are going to cost. We'll try to flat fee, but I've got a deal going up in Nebraska right now, and the other attorney is just such an epic moron. We can't accomplish anything with this guy. Ashley and I, Ashley's my right-hand lawyer, we were just throwing our hands up, just screaming about this guy yesterday. And he's costing our client a ton of money. And we can't, but anyway, how do you communicate with clients about money and keep them apprised? And what we did is we shortened our billing cycles to, on a lot of our cases, we will bill every week, and, it's a digital invoice. And so it's an update. Yep. And our clients appreciate that, because, at least, in quicker increments what's going on. And that makes a huge difference. So, we are working to fix that in our industry, those things. And so that's externally, right? Now, internally, these lawyers hate working for these law firms, because the law firms just churn them. And so, normal law firms, part of the model would be, we're going to bill you out at we want you to bill 2,000 hours a year. Okay. One of our attorneys was on a program like that. That's 9.5 hours a day. So she was working 12 hours a day.
Right.
And, it's a miserable freaking life. And so we were able to go get her from that law firm and take her billing quota down to 6 hours a day. And now all of a sudden she has a life. Now all of a sudden she's had 2 little babies, and she's happy as she can be. And by the way, her old boss, when one day she went in and said, hey, I need to talk to you about something. And he literally said to her, you're going to tell me you're pregnant. Don't tell me you're pregnant. You know,
Oh,
I'm,
jeez.
I'm happy. I'm thrilled she's pregnant. You know,
Right.
I want to see her succeed. And I want to see that happiness in her life. And I'm thrilled that we can do it. And, you know, I'm also waiting for those kids to grow up so I can tell them how much their maternity leave cost me, but, and how much they owe me, just to give them some trouble. By the way, that was fun. Her first baby, she named Hank. So I show up at the maternity ward. Oh, no, first one was Duke. I show up at maternity ward with a life-size cutout of John Wayne.
Nice.
That she's, and the second one's Hank. I had to go get the Hank one custom made, but it was $93, so it didn't break the bank. But she has been using those cutouts to measure those boys' heights on.
Oh, cool.
And I guess what I'm getting,
what a connection, right?
Yeah.
What a connection you've made.
Yeah, and that's you know, you want to celebrate these people's lives. You know, my job as the leader of the tribe is to make their lives better. You know, I've got to be a servant. Oh yeah, look, there's my guitar. I've got that one right here. You know, my job is to make their lives better and to build a company that improves their lives. And we want them to have good work-life balance. And we just set them apart from other law firms. And by the way, when I'm recruiting, we send that signal loud and clear. You would not immediately think my ad was for a law firm ad.
Right. Well, you know, it's interesting to me. A lot of companies talk about improving their customers' lives through X, Y, or Z, and yet expect to do so in the example you provided with the gal who had Duke and Hank, where she prior in the other firm, she's working 2,000 hours, miserable existence, would probably never even have the time to go get pregnant, right?
She said that.
Right. And, you know, it just seems a massive contradiction. How do you expect to impact your customers' lives when everybody on the front lines who's supposed to do that is miserable?
Mm-hmm.
So you're 100% right that you have taken on the role as a leader of your tribe to be in that life improvement business for your people first. Because if they ain't right, your customers aren't going to get right with whatever you provide, right?
Yeah. And, you know, that's classic Richard Branson of, you know, can't remember what it is. Take care of your team first and they'll take care of all your customers.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
You know, part of that is knowing who you want on your team and being really clear about your culture. Which, you know, on one hand, people yawn about culture, but man, you figure out what your core values are and who you need on your team, it'll supercharge the heck out of you.
Yeah. 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 That's one of those things that kind of like the mission, purpose, values statement kind of gets glossed over. You get a lot of this corporate-ese, a lot of pretty pictures of mountaintops and sunsets, but it's really a lot of it's hollow. So let's dig into that a little bit. What have you done with those you've worked with? What are some successes you've seen to build that up?
Now, there is a great book out there about your core values. It's yellow. I remember it's yellow, but it's great. And yeah, by the way, I'm completely with you. You know, integrity, you know, customer service, whatever, you know, that's a bunch of crap. And, you know, you have to get serious about action verbs of what you're doing. And I think maybe that's the key thing. Action verbs, our core value number one is believe and protect their dreams. Okay. Because clients come to us with a dream, and that's what a business is. It's a dream of them going to a different place in life, them improving their life. And, you know, if you've got a family, improving their family's life, right? And they want attorneys that believe in them, because that's the foundation. If we don't believe in their dream and don't want to help them, and don't believe they can do it, well, you can't put your heart into it. And then, the other side of what we do, because the common denominator of everything we do is dealing with people's vulnerabilities, whether it's a latent one or an active one. And we have got to put it in our hearts to, we're going to go protect this dream. We are going to take them to a better place and do everything we can. And that's a powerful core value. And I can, look at everybody on our team and go, they get that. Because if they don't get that, they're gone. I don't want them around here. They're poison to our whole mission. And as a leader, you have to be ready to fire anybody who you're just going, they don't get the core value. The second one is create solutions, because people don't come to us to learn about what their problems are. They come to us wanting to know, okay, how do I fix this? Or how can you help me fix this? Or what are the pieces we can put to place to make sure this doesn't happen again? And that, notice both of those core values are based on action verbs: believe, create, protect.
Yep.
And that's serious stuff.
Yep.
By the way, I've got a really sort of insane question in our interview questions. And I'm going to tweak it, throw some more in of just, what if you had a brick and a pillowcase, or a sheet? I think it's a sheet. What can you do with that? Sounds completely nuts, but I want to hear what they can do with it.
Right.
Because I'm looking for creative problem solvers.
Right. Right.
And I kind of like them to be a little deviant and aggressive too. So, you get
strap the superhero cape on with the sheet and grab the brick and go make some chaos in life.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. You want a job, Jeff? I'll give you a job.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the thing to take away from this, for anybody listening is, here's a guy, leader, owns his law firm, his attorney firm, law firm, but really understands his position. And that's helped to build, believe, and protect the dream of his customers. And, you mentioned it, when people call you, they want answers. The emotional hot button there is, on your team's side of the desk and phone or computer, if it's email, it's just business as usual. Their day is, hey, every day there's going to be a new emergency. We get that. We're preconditioned to deal with that. We do this every day. For the person sending the email, making the phone call, this might be the first time that they're getting a legal letter sent their way from another lawyer. Might be the first time they've run afoul of the IRS. Might be the first time they've run afoul of some other aspect of things. And it's it's eye-opening. I mean, look, I've been on something other than a W-2 tax form in my life for 20 plus years. Having an IRS letter show up doesn't faze me at all, because more than half the time, it's just, we updated this record, we amended this, we amended that. But for a lot of people, seeing a letter from the IRS is just downright scary. And, it bothers them. And so that's where your customers are coming to your team with that kind of like emotional distress. And I love how you've built in a culture of, we answer people and get back to them quick, because we have to remember, we're not our customer. Our customers come to us for our expertise.
Yeah, they aren't calling us because they're happy and want a cup of coffee,
Right.
Yeah, right. They're calling us because they're probably stressed out, and we want to create that experience that speaks to them. Okay, yeah, we're here, we're ready, we know how to help. That's what we do.
Yep. So, when we look at like growing a business, continuing to push it forward, right? Because that's the whole goal. Everybody has that creative idea, that big idea when they open a business. When it comes to growing it, you talk about in your book circular systems. What do you mean by that?
Well, I learned that years ago from a business coach. Your systems work in a circle of, first of all, you got to have marketing to get the leads in the door. And then marketing is different than sales. Sales is closing the deal. And those are different skill sets. And people don't want to talk about that, but it is. And then you got to have the people to do the work. You got to have the place for them to do it. And they've got to be productive doing it. And you have to measure the marketing, and you got to measure the productivity. And then guess what? That informs you how much marketing you need to do. And it all goes around in a big wheel, kind of like the wheels on the bus go round and round, right?
That's right.
And to get that in.
But by the way, there is a heavy metal version of that song.
I think I know that. And that's circular. And I'll tell you what I think my third book is going to be called. It's just going to be called The Word Problem, because one thing I'm always talking to my clients about is, first of all, we all hated word problems as we were a kid. Jeff has to get to Philadelphia and he's going 38 miles an hour. Right?
I never got those right.
Yeah, we all hated it. But, as an adult, so much of our life is a word problem. Okay. I ate too much this spring, so I'm fat right now, right? How do I lose that? It's a word problem. How much exercise do I get to, so on, versus how much do I eat leads to this weight loss, right? And, I talk about, okay, how many leads do you have to get? How many do you have to close? Well, what do these numbers look like in your business? Mm-hmm. And I will map that out for my clients, just, more in a consulting sense. And that's more with a startup or whatever. But I have right up here on my whiteboard over there, this is our word problem. And I know what it is. I know what we have to do to make it work. I know how many leads we need to keep busy, because I know, and new and repeat. And I am constantly, refining it too, because it changes as we mature in markets that we operate in. We actually need fewer new leads because we've got so much repeat business in those markets. But as you grow, your word problem actually becomes a little bit more complex. But I always impress on people when they're starting a business, figure out what that looks like to the best of your ability and look at it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's when you look at it through that lens, business ownership, leadership does become simple. It can be simple because if we end up making things all too complex at times. If you break it down to those simple motions, like, to use a football analogy, the blocking and tackling, right? Oklahoma, you gotta be touching a little bit of football in your life, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the simple things of blocking and tackling will win you a game. I'm an Eagles fan, being a Philly guy, Philly region guy. Mm-hmm. The Philly special was a cool play. Yeah, we tried to execute it in the youth football I coached. We 100% messed it up because the kids didn't block. They all wanted to do it. It looked cool. It seemed cool. We wanted to emulate it, but it just didn't bring home the touchdown. And I think that so much of that happens. I wrote a post today on my social media, and you'll like this, I get the feeling you have taken on the marketing of your business. I think beyond being a visionary for your business, that's like skill 1B, visionary 1A, skill 1B is marketing. There's this new feature in Facebook where if you run a group, you can apparently type at everyone, and everyone in that comment gets pinged.
Okay.
I learned of this feature in the recent days here. I've seen it come up now multiple times. 3 of the groups are supposed marketing focused groups, which is just the most ironic thing ever, because tagging at everyone just defies market, message, and media match, right? So it just, sometimes you just got to do the simple things of figuring out the word problem in the business, in the moment for the issue, right? If it's marketing, it's the word problem of what is your who is your market? What is the message they're hungry for? And which media do they most use to dump that message into? Right? That's the word problem, simplest form.
And how many of those do you need? And how many of those can, how many of the leads do you need? How many closes can you get out of that? And yeah, you're completely right about how I approach the business, because I am an advocate of this Seth Godin line that marketing is too important to leave to the marketing department. Right?
100%.
It's job one. I mean, because look, if you're not getting up to bat, if you're not getting the snaps, if you don't have the basketball, you're screwed, right?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. It's core focus number one if you own your business, to be marketing it, for sure. Man, I think I have loved our time together. We're approaching the top of the hour. This has been a true joy. Let's talk about how people might connect with you, both new customers, right? Let's solve the word problem for new customers, right? We need new people in. And then obviously, if you're an attorney or in the legal profession and you like what Matt's throwing out here and you think this would be cool to work with this guy, so how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is davisbusinesslaw.com. And by the way, we've got all of our resources about the art of preventing stupid, and then the second book, The Strong Protected Business, up on our website. It's in the resources tab. We're kind of an open book. And then my email is mdavis@davisbusinesslaw. And, I'm happy to help. As you can tell, I'm pretty easygoing and kind of an open book about everything we do.
Sure. Yeah. And we've been showing on the screen, again, another reason to watch, and we'll have it in the show notes, all of Matt's resources, getting his book, The Art of Preventing Stupid, connecting with him through the website, through social media. We'll have all that in the show notes to get connected. Matt, I'm going to throw you on the spot. When I saw that guitar come out in the pre-show, I figured I'll save a couple minutes at the end. You feel like jamming a little bit for everybody? Can I put you on the spot like that?
Yeah, let me see what I got here. So this is I got this one here. This is a 61 Gibson J50. This is not J50. This is a LG3, which is a really cool little acoustic. See if it's even in tune. I don't play this one much. I've got a Telecaster over here. Let's see. Yeah, it's out of tune. Oh, hold on. Where's that go? Now it goes to B minor. This is Teenage Daughter. I got a teenage daughter. She got that look in her eye. She got a wild-eyed boyfriend. Don't like the look of that guy. She walks in the kitchen. Say, what's up with those jeans? She rolls her eyes back at me. Said, just what do you mean? There you go.
Love it, man. That's great.
That's,
I wasn't 100% sure if you were 100% serious on Teenage Daughter, the band playing out, but you right there. It is right there. 100% spot on. Love it.
Turn it up to 11 and, get out. I only play a flying V in the band. So I've got 2 flying Vs. You got to put on a good show, right?
I love it. I love it. Well, I think this has been a great show. Matt, I've enjoyed our time together so much. Thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom, knowledge with our watchers, our listeners. It's been real great. That was a lot of fun to wrap up the show. Really appreciate that. Yeah. And I guess, what was the name of your band again?
Geriatric Steel.
Geriatric steel. I'm guessing people can connect with you through your site there, the Get to Know Matt Davis site. But man, that was just a lot of fun.
And yeah, we're getting the band website up. We got the logo done, and we're getting ready to go.
That's great. That's great. Well, everybody, this has been another great episode of The Big Ticket Life. Thank you to Matt for joining us, and we'll see you next week on the show. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of The Big Ticket Life. You've heard from another amazing guest living their own big ticket life, and now it's time to live yours. First, I'd love for you to take me up on my free gift to you. Claim your gift at gift.thebigticketlife.live. That's gift.thebigticketlife.live. See, all your life you've been told what is and what isn't possible by the loudest voices from the cheapest seats. It's time to finally do life and business on your terms. Sure, you've heard similar things, but without clarity on what can be done, it's easy to have your customers, employees, maybe even partners, and your spouse keep you from truly living a big ticket life. My big ticket methods shift you into that investor seat in your business, away from commodity and away from competition, into a market of one, so you can finally live your own big ticket life. So my gift to you is for you to book your discovery call today, where we'll uncover first the Chivo behaviors, those chief everything officer behaviors that hold you back, and why moving into the investor seat in your own business is critical. 2, we'll uncover the premium position that's up for grabs right now in your market that you're missing out on. And 3, which big ticket methodologies are just waiting to be dropped into your business to explode your sales and profits. So again, thanks for listening to this episode. I'd love for you to take action right now. Accept this gift. Book your call. Go to gift.thebigticketlife.live. Again, that's gift.thebigticketlife.live.